Lisa pressed a button on her device. Nothing seemed to happen. Then Rekvos staggered, his 4 eyes blinking rapidly. "What is this?" the alien commander growled. "The special project," Thompson said, rising to her feet. "A frequency that affects your neural system. We learned it from studying your ship." Rekvos fell to one knee, trying to fight whatever invisible force affected him. "You cheated," he accused. "No," Thompson replied. "I used my species' greatest weapon, our minds. You valued us for our warrior spirit, but that's only part of who we are." She stepped closer to the struggling commander. "We're also scientists, diplomats, artists, and dreamers. We joined the Concord not because we forgot how to fight, but because we chose something better." Rekvos looked up at her. "Then finish this. Take your victory." Thompson shook her head. "That's not how humans win." She reached down and offered her hand to the Vkatheri. The room fell silent in shock. "The Concord was wrong to suppress its warrior past," she said, "but you're wrong to value only strength in battle. True strength is knowing when not to fight." For a long moment, Rekvos stared at the offered hand. Then, slowly, he took it. Thompson helped him stand as Lisa turned off the device. "Your people value worthy opponents," Thompson said. "We invite you to find worthier challenges than war. Join us in exploring the galaxy, solving its mysteries, building rather than destroying." "The Vkatheri know only conquest," Rekvos said, but his voice held uncertainty. "Then learn something new," Thompson replied. "As we all must." She turned to face the assembled representatives. "The Concord's peace was built on denial of its past. That ends today. We will remember how to defend ourselves while still choosing cooperation over conflict." Zavrak floated forward. "You speak of changing 3,000 years of tradition. I speak of survival," Thompson said firmly. "And growth." She turned back to Rekvos. "Your fleet will withdraw, but we invite Vkatheri representatives to join a new council, one that honors strength while pursuing peace." The commander studied her face. "You are strange creatures, humans. You smile in the face of war, then offer friendship when you could claim victory." "That," Jack said, stepping forward, "is the true human nature." Rekvos looked around at the gathered species, then back to Thompson. Slowly, the alien nodded. "We will consider your offer," he said. "The Vkatheri respect strength in all its forms." As the commander left to communicate with his fleet, Jack joined President Thompson. "Will they really withdraw?" he asked. Thompson watched the Vkatheri leave. "They'll withdraw. And someday, they might return as allies." Around them, humans and aliens began talking excitedly about the future. Jack noticed that for the first time since the crisis began, both humans and Concord species were smiling. The galaxy would never be the same, but perhaps it would be better. The neutral zone was a large circular chamber at the heart of Harmony Station. Originally designed for ceremonies, it now served as a battlefield. Representatives from all species gathered around the edges. In the center stood President Thompson, wearing a simple black uniform. Jack stood with Ella, Susan, and Lisa near the front. Lisa held a small device that she kept checking nervously. "Will it work?" Jack whispered. "It should," Lisa replied. "But it's still a risk." Heavy footsteps echoed as Supreme Commander Rekvos entered. Without his helmet, Jack could finally see the Vkatheri's face. Gray skin stretched over a bony structure. 4 eyes, glowing red, scanned the room. The alien stood nearly 9 feet tall. "The terms are simple," Rekvos announced. "We fight until one cannot continue. No weapons except those we are born with." The Vkatheri removed his armor, revealing a muscular body with 4 arms. Each hand ended in sharp claws. The alien looked like a living weapon. President Thompson looked small and fragile in comparison. Jack felt his heart sink. "President Thompson," Zavrak floated forward. "The Concord cannot ask you to sacrifice yourself." "You're not asking," Thompson replied calmly. "I'm offering." She stepped into the circle marked on the floor. Rekvos did the same. For a moment, they studied each other. Then the Victhery attacked. Its speed was shocking. One moment Rekvos stood still. The next, all four arms lashed out at Thompson. But the president was no longer there. She moved with surprising agility, dodging each strike. "She's fast," Susan said with pride. "But she can't win by dodging forever," Jack replied. The fight continued. Rekvos attacked relentlessly while Thompson evaded. She landed occasional strikes of her own, but they seemed to have little effect on the larger alien. After several minutes, Thompson began to slow. A claw caught her shoulder, drawing blood. Another strike hit her leg. She stumbled but kept moving. Lisa checked her device again. "Almost there," she whispered. "Almost where?" Jack asked, but got no answer. Thompson took another hit, this one sending her to the floor. The crowd gasped. Rekvos stood over her, all four arms raised for a final strike. "Your species fought well," the Victhery commander said. "You will make worthy allies in our conquest." Thompson looked up, blood running down her face. But she was smiling. "Now," she said quietly. The battle raged for hours. Jack watched from the command center as ships on both sides fell. Human vessels fought with skill and courage. Concord ships, despite their lack of combat experience, provided crucial support. But the Victhery flagship remained untouched. Its massive hull absorbed attacks that would destroy smaller vessels. Its weapons cut through Allied shields with frightening ease. "We can't break through their defenses," Susan admitted, her voice tight with frustration. "We need something else." Jack's mind raced. Then he remembered something Lisa had said about the captured Victhery ship. What if we don't need to defeat them? What if we just need to impress them? Susan looked at him sharply. "Explain." "Lisa said they value strength and combat skill. They attacked because they saw the Concord as weak, but humans as worthy opponents." Jack stepped closer to the tactical display. "What if this isn't about conquest? What if it's a test?" Before Susan could respond, the command center doors opened. President Laura Thompson walked in, flanked by security officers. Everyone stood straighter. "Madam President," Susan said with surprise, "we didn't know you were on the station." "I arrived via special transport during the battle," President Thompson said. Her gray hair was pulled back tightly, her eyes sharp and focused. "I studied the Victhery data. Jack is right. This is a test, not just conquest." She moved to the communication console. "Open a direct channel to Supreme Commander Rekvos." "That's dangerous," Susan warned. "They could trace the signal and target this location." "I'm counting on it," President Thompson replied. The screen flickered, then showed Rekvos in what appeared to be the Victhery flagship's command center. "President Thompson of Earth," the alien commander said. "I wondered when you would show yourself." "You know who I am," Thompson stated. "We know everything about humanity," Rekvos replied. "Your history, your wars, your resilience. While the Concord slept in its peaceful dream, we watched you struggle to fit into their world while keeping your warrior spirit alive." Thompson's face remained calm. "Then you know we won't surrender." "Surrender was never an option we considered for humans," Rekvos said. "But the Concord must fall. Its peace is built on lies and suppression." "On that we might agree," Thompson said, surprising everyone in the command center. "But those are our allies now, and we protect our own." Rekvos was silent for a moment. "Interesting. You defend those who would change your nature if they could. We defend those who need protection," Thompson corrected. "That's the true human nature." The Victhery commander leaned forward. "Then prove your worth. Meet me in personal combat, as our traditions demand. One leader against another." Gasps filled the command center. Jack moved toward the president, but she raised her hand to stop him. "Your terms?" she asked. "If you win, we will withdraw from Concord space," Rekvos said. "If I win, humanity will join the Victhery as equals, and together we will reshape this galaxy." "No." Zavarak floated forward. This is madness. We cannot stake everything on combat between two individuals. Thompson turned to the High Counselor. For 3,000 years, your people avoided conflict, and now you're unprepared when it finds you. Humans never had that luxury. She turned back to the screen. I accept your challenge, Commander Rekvos. Where and when? The neutral zone of Harmony Station. 1 hour. The screen went dark. The command center erupted in voices. Susan approached the president. Madam President, this is too dangerous. The Victheri are physically stronger than humans. Their combat training is. Their training is untested against real opponents. Thompson interrupted. Mine isn't. Jack remembered the president's history. Before politics, she had been a military officer with combat experience. Still, facing the Victheri commander seemed like suicide. What if this is a trap? Jack asked. It is a trap. Thompson smiled slightly. Just not for me. She turned to Lisa Campbell. Is the special project ready? Lisa nodded. Completed an hour ago. But we haven't tested it under combat conditions. No time like the present, Thompson said. She looked around at the worried faces. The Victheri respect strength above all. They believe humans don't belong with the Concord because we're warriors, not peacekeepers. So we prove them wrong by fighting. Jack asked, confused. No, Thompson's smile grew. We prove them wrong by winning. And then choosing peace anyway. Harmony Station shook as its shields absorbed the first Victheri attacks. Jack ran through crowded corridors. Aliens of all species rushed in panic, seeking safety deeper inside the station. Make way, Jack shouted, pushing toward the command center. When he arrived, Admiral Susan Hall stood calmly before a large tactical display. Human officers worked alongside Rizari and Mevlani allies. The few Concord officials present looked lost. Status report, Susan demanded. Enemy fleet has surrounded the station, a human officer reported. Their main vessel holds position 10,000 kilometers out. Smaller ships are testing our defenses. Susan nodded. Where's our fleet? Hidden behind the third moon, as planned. Awaiting your signal. Jack moved beside Susan. The council is in chaos. Half want to surrender, half want to run. They can do neither, Susan said. We need this station. The tactical display showed Victheri ships moving in complex patterns around Harmony Station. Their attacks seemed careful, almost curious. They're not trying to destroy us, Jack realized. They're studying our defenses. Exactly, Susan smiled slightly, which means we can surprise them. She pressed her communication device. All ships, execute Operation Trojan Horse. Now, the display changed. From behind the moon, Earth's fleet emerged. But instead of charging forward, the ships split into 3 groups, moving in different directions. What are they doing? Asked Zavrak, who had just entered the command center. Creating confusion, Susan explained. The Victheri expected a direct attack. Instead, we're flanking them. On screen, the human ships executed a complex battle plan. The first group fired missiles that split into hundreds of smaller projectiles. The Victheri ships responded by raising shields facing that direction. Then the second human group attacked from behind, targeting engines and weapon systems. Several enemy ships spun out of control. Their shields only work in one direction at a time, Lisa Campbell explained, joining them at the display. I learned that from their captured vessel. The third group of human ships launched strange devices toward the larger Victheri vessels. On contact, the devices stuck to the hulls. What are those? Jack asked. Shield disruptors, Lisa said proudly. They create a small hole in the enemy shields, just big enough for a targeted strike. The battle unfolded with surprising speed. Human ships moved with agility and purpose. The Rizari and Mevlani vessels, while fewer in number, followed human tactics perfectly. For a moment, it seemed they might win easily. Then the main Victheri vessel moved. It released hundreds of fighter craft, each heading directly for the human fleet. New weapons fired from its massive hull, creating shimmering energy fields that trapped several Earth ships. "They're adapting," Susan said, her voice tense. "Faster than we expected." The command center fell quiet as everyone watched the battle turn. Human ships began taking heavy damage. 3 exploded in bright flashes. "We need more help," Jack said desperately. Susan looked at Zavarak. "We need the Concorde defense ships. All of them." Zavarak's tentacles trembled. "They are not combat vessels. They carry minimal weapons. But they have strong shields," Susan countered. "They can protect our fighters." The High Counselor hesitated. Jack understood his struggle. After 3,000 years of avoiding conflict, committing to battle meant changing everything the Concorde stood for. "If we lose here," Jack said softly, "there will be no Concorde left to protect." Zavarak lowered his head, then pressed his communication device. "This is High Counselor Zavarak. All Concorde vessels are ordered to support the human fleet. This is not a request." On the display, dozens of Concorde ships began moving toward the battle. Their sleek, beautiful designs, meant for peace, now entered war. A message flashed on the main screen. It came from the Breathtaking flagship. "Open it," Susan ordered. A figure appeared, taller and more imposing than the envoy they had met earlier. Its armor gleamed with symbols of rank. "I am Supreme Commander Rekos of the Breathtaking," it said, its voice deep and resonant. "You fight well, humans." Susan stepped forward. "We fight to protect, not conquer." "An interesting distinction," Rekvaz replied, "but irrelevant. We did not come to this galaxy for half measures. We came to meet worthy opponents." The screen went dark. The Breathtaking flagship moved forward, its weapons charging. "All ships," Susan commanded, "focus fire on the flagship. This ends now." As human and Concorde ships turned to face the massive vessel, Jack felt a strange mix of fear and hope. For the first time, the galaxies stood united, not in peace, but in battle. And somewhere, in the back of his mind, he wondered if that was what the Breathtaking had wanted all along. Axe stood in a large room deep within Harmony Station. Once a peaceful meditation chamber, it now served as a war room. Maps of nearby star systems glowed on display screens. Representatives from the Rizari and Mevlani species stood beside human officers, studying battle plans. "The Breathtaking fleet will arrive here," Commander Perry said, pointing to a spot near the station. "Based on their previous attacks, they'll send smaller ships ahead to test our defenses." A Rizari officer, her scaled skin shimmering under the lights, looked uncertain. "My people have not fought in 800 years. We remember the basics of combat. But that's why we're here," Perry assured her. "Humans never stop training for war." Jack watched Perry explain simple battle tactics. The Rizari and Mevlani listened carefully, asking questions that would seem obvious to any human soldier. Jack felt sad that these species had to relearn the art of war, yet proud the humans could teach them. His communication device beeped. Lissa Campbell needed him at the captured Breathtaking ship. Jack hurried to the docking bay where the alien vessel sat, surrounded by human technicians. Lisa met him at the entry ramp. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't slept in days. "I found something," she said, leading him inside. The ship's interior remained alien and uncomfortable, with sharp angles and glowing red surfaces. In what appeared to be the command center, Lisa activated a holographic display. Strange symbols appeared, then translated to human language. "This is their mission log," Lisa explained. "They've been watching the Concorde for centuries, waiting for the right moment to attack." "Why now?" Jack asked. "Because of us," Lisa pointed to images of Earth ships. "Humans joined the Concorde 200 years ago. The Breathtaking have been observing our progress ever since. But why would our joining trigger their attack?" Lisa's face turned grim. "Because they believe only through conflict can species truly evolve. The Concorde's peace made its members weak. When humans joined, a species they recognized as natural warriors, they decided to act. "They're attacking because we're here." Jack couldn't hide his shock. "Not exactly," Lisa said. "They're attacking because they believe we don't belong in the Concord. They think we're wasting our potential among pacifists." Jack's mind raced. "We need to tell the council." Back at the council chamber, Jack found only a fraction of the representatives present. Many had fled to safer systems. High Counselor Zavrak remained, along with a few elder species members. "We have discovered why the Victheri attacked now," Jack announced. He explained what Lisa had found, watching the aliens' faces shift from fear to confusion to anger. "So this is humanity's fault," Counselor Vreen said bitterly. "Your warlike nature brought this upon us." "No," Ella stood beside Jack. "The Concord brought this upon itself by denying its own history." Ella activated a console, accessing the station's ancient records. "I've spent 50 years studying Concord history. There are gaps, periods erased or hidden." Images appeared, showing ancient battles. Jack recognized Concord species fighting in wars thousands of years ago. 3,000 years of peace didn't happen naturally, Ella said. The elder species didn't evolve beyond conflict. They suppressed it. They altered their own cultures and histories to remove all knowledge of warfare. The chamber fell silent. "And when new species joined," Ella continued, "the Concord did the same to them, gradually erasing their warrior pasts, teaching them that peace was the only way." "We did what was necessary," Zavrak said quietly. "War nearly destroyed the galaxy once before." "But you went too far," Jack said. "You didn't just choose peace. You forgot how to defend it." A loud alarm cut through the chamber. Red emergency lights flashed. The station's AI spoke clearly. "Warning. Multiple unidentified vessels approaching. Matching Victheri signatures." "They're early," Jack said, checking his device. On the large display screen, dozens of Victheri ships appeared. Behind them, a massive vessel emerged from faster-than-light travel, at least 10 times larger than any ship Jack had ever seen. "The main fleet," Zavrak whispered. Jack's communication device beeped again. A message from Admiral Hall. "DFIFINCFLEET in Poazetoyon. Remember the Pilan." Jack looked at the approaching armada, then at the frightened council members. The time for talk had ended. "The Victheri believe we don't belong with the Concord," Jack said firmly. "We're about to prove them wrong." Jack couldn't sleep. News from the front lines came in fragments. Earth's hidden fleet, led by Admiral Hall's flagship USF Defiance, had engaged the Victheri forces near Proxima Colony. The battle had raged for 6 hours with no clear winner. His room's communication panel chimed. "Emergency council session in 30 minutes, said a computerized voice. When Jack arrived at the chamber, the mood was different. Fear remained, but now curiosity mixed with it. Representatives whispered and pointed at the human delegation. High Counselor Zavrak looked exhausted as he called the session to order. "We have received reports of unauthorized military action in the Proxima system." All eyes turned to the humans. Ben Carson stood. "Not unauthorized by Earth. Our ships protect Concord citizens when you would not. Your actions may doom us all," shouted Counselor Vreen. The Victheri ultimatum was clear. The chamber doors slid open. Admiral Susan Hall walked in, her uniform dusty and torn. Blood dried on her cheek. The room fell silent. "The Victheri fleet at Proxima Colony has been defeated," she announced. Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Jack felt his heart race. No one had expected victory. "Impossible," Vreen said. "Their technology far exceeds Concord standards." "True," Susan agreed, "but they've never fought humans before." Susan activated the central hologram. It showed Earth ships, sleek and aggressive, swarming around the larger Victheri vessels. Human craft took hits that would destroy Concord ships but kept fighting. "We lost 17 ships," Susan continued, "but the Victheri lost 32. We captured one intact. Now the chamber erupted in shocked voices. Even Jack was surprised. Capturing enemy technology was something the Concorde hadn't done in thousands of years. Our engineer, Lisa Campbell, is studying their ship now, Susan said. We've learned they expected an easy victory based on their assessment of Concorde defenses. They didn't expect us. What happens now? Zavrak asked. Now we take the fight to them, Susan replied. My ships are regrouping for a counterattack. No, Vreen shouted. This aggression will only bring more violence. We must show the Vic theory we can coexist peacefully. Susan's laugh was cold. They destroyed 5 worlds. There were no survivors. Jack listened to the debate rage. The Concorde species couldn't understand war. Peace had been their way for too long. Yet Susan's victory had changed something. A few representatives, mostly from younger species, nodded at her words. After the session, Jack found Susan in a quiet hallway. How did you really get here so fast? He asked. Proxima is 3 days' travel. Susan smiled. We captured the Vic Theory ship 2 days ago. I've been on the station for hours, meeting with potential allies. Allies? Among the Concorde. The Rizari and Medlani have agreed to join us, Susan said. They're young enough to remember conflict. They'll provide support ships and resources. Jack felt pride mixed with concern. The Elder Council won't accept this coalition. They don't need to accept it, Susan replied. They just need to stay out of our way while we save them. Later, Jack met with Ella and Commander Perry in his quarters. A secure channel showed Lisa Campbell standing inside a Vic Theory vessel. The ship's interior glowed with red light, and strange symbols covered the walls. Their technology isn't as advanced as we feared, Lisa reported. They just use it differently. Their weapons target shield frequencies the Concorde has used for 2,000 years without variation. Can we adapt our shields? Perry asked. Already done. Lisa nodded. But there's something else. We found their star charts. They've been watching us, specifically Earth, for decades. They know exactly who we are. Jack felt cold. Why target humans? Not targeting, Lisa corrected. Assessing. There's data here suggesting they attacked the Concorde specifically because humans joined it. They see us as worthy opponents. They want to fight us. Jack asked, confused. I think, Lisa said slowly, they want to test us. The communication ended. Jack looked at Ella and Perry. Outside his window, he could see Harmony Station bustling with activity. Concorde species packed belongings, preparing to flee deeper into safe territory. They still believed surrender was their only option. How long until the next Vic Theory fleet arrives? Jack asked. 3 days, Perry answered. Their main force is coming. This was just the advance guard. Jack nodded. Then we have 3 days to convince the Concorde to fight with us. Or, Ella said quietly, 3 days to prepare to fight alone. Jack spent the night studying the data chip from Earth. What he learned shocked him. For over a century, Earth had maintained secret shipyards inside hollow asteroids. Scientists worked on weapons research while pretending to study peacetime applications. Military academies trained officers under the guise of emergency management programs. All of this happened right under the Concorde's watchful eyes. Morning came too quickly. Jack met Ella outside the council chamber. Her face showed she hadn't slept either. 3 more systems fell overnight, she whispered. The Vic Theory moved faster than we expected. Inside the chamber, fear had turned to panic. Representatives argued loudly. Some demanded surrender. Others called for evacuation of border worlds. None suggested fighting back, except the humans. Admiral Susan Hall stood again when called upon. The Vic Theory have destroyed 5 worlds in 2 days. Their message is clear. They don't want surrender. They want conquest. What would you have us do? Asked Councillor Vreen. Start a war. The war already started, Susan replied. You just haven't accepted it yet. High Councillor Zavrak's tentacles trembled. We have contacted the Vgatheri. They have agreed to meet with us. Shocked murmurs filled the room. Jack caught Susan's eye. They both knew what this meant. The Concord would try to negotiate, offering concessions to preserve peace. When? Susan demanded. They arrive tomorrow, Zavrak said. A single ship has been granted safe passage to Harmony Station. Jack stood. I request that Earth representatives be present at this meeting. Denied, Zavrak said quickly. Your species' aggressive tendencies might provoke them. After the session, Jack, Susan, and Ella gathered in a secure room. Commander Perry joined them, bringing news from Earth's fleet. They've reached the edge of the Vega sector, Perry reported. First contact with Vgatheri forces expected within hours. Susan paced the room. The Concord is making a mistake. You don't negotiate with someone who's already killing you. We need to be in that meeting, Jack insisted. Ella's eyes narrowed with determination. Leave that to me. I've been a diplomat for 50 years. I know every rule and loophole in the Concord Charter. The next day, Jack stood nervously beside Ella outside the High Council's private meeting chamber. Through clever diplomatic maneuvering, Ella had secured them observer status. They could watch but not speak. Remember, Ella whispered, whatever happens, stay calm. The doors opened. The inner chamber held only the 7 eldest species representatives. In the center stood the Vgatheri envoy. Jack's breath caught. The alien was tall, nearly 8 feet, with a body covered in black armor. Its helmet revealed only glowing red eyes. 2 arms ended in clawed hands, while a second, smaller pair folded across its chest. We welcome you to Harmony Station, Zavrak began. We seek peaceful. Peace is weakness, the Vgatheri interrupted, its voice deep and mechanical through its translator. The Concord has grown soft in its long sleep. We offer trade, cultural exchange. Another counselor tried. We take what we need, the Vgatheri said. Your offers mean nothing. Jack watched the counselors' faces fall as they realized diplomacy would not work. Then why meet with us at all? Zavrak asked. The Vgatheri's head turned slowly, surveying the room. When its glowing eyes fell on Jack and Ella, it paused. Humans, it said. Interesting. Jack felt a chill run down his spine. We came to deliver terms, the Vgatheri continued. Surrender all outer systems. Dismantle your defenses. Prepare your inner worlds for our arrival. And if we refuse? Zavrak asked, voice trembling. Extinction. The word hung in the air. You have 1 standard day to decide. The Vgatheri turned to leave, then stopped near Jack. Your species is new here, it said directly to him. You need not share their fate. Before Jack could respond, the alien strode out. The counselors broke into panicked discussion. Jack's communication device vibrated. A message from Susan. First Sion-Take-T made with VKATHARI forces. Engaging NO. Jack showed Ella the message. While the Concord's leaders debated surrender, humanity had already taken the fight to the enemy. Jack felt a strange mix of pride and fear. It begins, Ella said softly. Outside the windows of Harmony Station, stars shone peacefully. Jack wondered how many would still be free in a week's time. And for the first time since the crisis began, he stopped smiling. Chaos ruled the council chamber. Elder species that had never known fear now trembled. The Thraxi delegation pulsed deep red colors of terror. The Dorini representatives huddled together, their ancient eyes wide with shock. Jack looked at Ella, who still wore that strange smile. You knew this would happen, he whispered. Ella's eyes narrowed. Not here. Meet me at Observation Deck 12 in 1 hour. High Counselor Zavrak raised his tentacles for silence. The Concord Defense Force is mobilizing to investigate. We must remain calm and united. A harsh laugh cut through the chamber. Every eye turned to Admiral Susan Hall, the human military liaison to the Concord. Her uniform, crisp and blue with golden pins, stood out among the flowing robes of peace worn by other representatives. "Investigate," Susan asked, standing. "The Victeri just destroyed an entire colony. Your defense force hasn't fired a weapon in 800 years. They're glorified traffic controllers." Zavarek's skin paled further. "Admiral Hall, this is not the time for—" "This is exactly the time," Susan interrupted. "Earth requests permission to deploy our defense fleet to the border systems." The chamber fell silent again, but this time with shock at the humans' boldness. "Earth has no defense fleet," said Counselor Vreen of the Pelax. "All Concord members agreed to limit military vessels when joining." Susan smiled. "Earth agreed to limit military vessels registered with the Concord. We never promised not to build others." Gasps echoed through the chamber. Jack watched alien faces shift from fear to anger and suspicion. "This behavior is exactly why humans remain junior members," Vreen said. "You hide your true nature behind smiles while preparing for war during peace. And now that war has come," Susan replied calmly, "you might be grateful for our preparation." Zavarek floated higher on the platform. "The request is denied. Admiral, the Concord will handle this crisis according to our protocols. This emergency session is adjourned until tomorrow." As representatives filed out, Jack noticed how aliens moved away from the human delegation. 3,000 years of peace had made the very concept of preparing for war seem immoral. Yet Jack felt no shame, only a growing certainty that humanity's caution would soon be vindicated. 1 hour later, Jack entered Observation Deck 12. The small viewing area was empty except for Ella, who stood looking out at the stars. "Is it true?" Jack asked. "Does Earth really have a hidden fleet?" Ella nodded without turning. "The Artemis program started 50 years after first contact, when we realized how vulnerable the Concord truly was." "But how?" "The Concord monitors everything we build." "Not everything." Ella finally faced him. "The mining operations in the belt, the research stations on Europa and Titan, all cover operations. Earth has been preparing since the day we learned the truth." "What truth?" "That the Concord's peace is a beautiful lie." Ella's voice hardened. "The galaxy doesn't know peace because everyone chose it. They know peace because anything that threatened it was eliminated." Jack felt cold. "The Concord committed genocide." "Not genocide. Cultural restructuring. Species too aggressive were altered, their histories rewritten. The Concord offered them paradise and removed the parts of their nature that might disturb it. They tried to do that to us," Jack realized. "They're still trying," Ella said. "But humans are stubborn. We smile and nod, while keeping our teeth sharp." The door hissed open. Commander Alan Perry entered, his naval uniform nearly identical to Admiral Hall's. "Ambassador Wright." He nodded to Ella. "Mr. Miller." He handed Jack a small data chip. "From Earth." Jack inserted the chip into his wrist device. A hologram appeared. President Laura Thompson, her face grave. "Jack Miller, your diplomatic skills are about to become vital," the president said. "Operation Sleeping Giant is now active. Earth's hidden fleet has already departed for the Vega sector. Your job is to keep the Concord from interfering until we've engaged the enemy." The message ended. Jack looked up at Ella and Perry. "How big is this fleet?" Perry's face showed pride. 200 ships, 40,000 personnel. The best weapons Earth science could develop while pretending to focus on peaceful technology. "The Concord will call it betrayal," Jack said. Ella placed a hand on his shoulder. "Maybe. But when the Victeri come, and they will come to Harmony Station soon, the Concord will call it salvation." Through the viewport, Jack watched a Durrani passenger ship arrive. He wondered how many more would escape before the Victeri arrived. He wondered if the peaceful species of the Concord could even comprehend what was coming. And like his fellow humans, Jack smiled. Not with joy, but with grim determination. The time for pretending was over. Jack Miller stood at the viewing deck of Harmony Station, watching ships from 24 alien species glide into docking bays. After 5 years as Earth's junior diplomat to the Galactic Concord, he still found the sight amazing. Alien vessels of every shape and size moved in perfect order, like dancers following steps written 3,000 years ago. "Beautiful, isn't it?" asked a melodic voice behind him. Jack turned to see Ambassador Ella Wright. Her silver hair caught the light from a passing Morillian transport. At 78, she remained Earth's most respected voice in the Concord. "Never gets old," Jack said, smiling. Hard to believe humans almost missed all this. "The Concord found us just in time," Ella said. "Another 50 years, and we might have destroyed ourselves." Jack nodded. Earth history classes taught that the Concord's arrival had saved humanity from its warlike nature. The elder races brought peace, advanced technology, and membership in the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. "Speaking of time," Jack said, checking his wrist device, "we should head to the council chambers. Session starts in 20 minutes. As they walked through Harmony Station's wide corridors, Jack noticed something unusual. More security guards stood at intersections, Zoran officials, with their blue-scaled skin, huddled in corners speaking in hushed tones. Something was wrong. "Ella, what's going on?" Jack asked quietly. "I count twice the normal security." Ella's face tightened. "Council business. Nothing for junior members to worry about." Jack knew better than to push. In the Concord's careful hierarchy, humans remained near the bottom. Discovered only 200 years ago, Earth was still considered primitive but promising by elder species who measured their civilizations in thousands of years. They passed a group of Pilex diplomats, their tall, thin bodies wrapped in ceremonial cloths. The aliens stopped talking when they saw Jack and Ella. One of them made the sign of peace. 4 tentacles crossed over its chest, but Jack noticed the gesture seemed forced. The council chamber doors opened automatically as they approached. Inside, representatives from 24 species sat in rising circles around a central platform. Normally before sessions, the room buzzed with friendly conversation. Today, silence hung heavy in the air. Jack and Ella took their seats in the human section. 2 other Earth diplomats, Ben Carson and Mary Winters, were already there. Ben leaned over as Jack sat down. "Any idea what's happening?" Ben whispered. Jack shook his head. "Something big. Ella won't say." Mary pointed toward the elder species section. "Look at the Thraxi delegation. I've never seen them agitated before." The Thraxi, ancient jellyfish-like beings who rarely showed emotion, were pulsing rapidly with bright colors. Their translator units worked overtime as they communicated urgently with the equally ancient Durini. The chamber lights dimmed. High Counselor Zavrak of the Pilax floated to the central platform. His tentacles were pale, a sign of extreme stress in his species. "Honored representatives," Zavrak's voice echoed. "I call this emergency session to order." The words "emergency session" sent a wave of murmurs through the chamber. The Concord hadn't declared an emergency in over 500 years. 3 days ago, we lost contact with the Benari colony in the outer systems, Zavrak continued. Yesterday, we lost contact with the entire Vega sector. Jack felt a chill. The Vega sector included 12 inhabited worlds and major trade routes. Our long-range sensors detected weapons fire and energy signatures, unlike anything in our records, Zavrak said. We have confirmed that an unknown species has entered Concord space. The chamber erupted. Representatives shouted questions in dozens of languages. Jack noticed something strange. While every other delegation reacted with shock or fear, the human section remained calm. "We have received a transmission," Zavrak said when the noise subsided. "I will play it now." A hologram appeared above the platform. It showed cities burning on a green world Jack recognized as Benari Prime. Strange ships with sharp, angular designs fired weapons that cut through Concord defenses like paper. Then the image shifted to a tall, armored figure. Its face remained hidden behind a black mask with glowing red eyes. Galactic Concord, the figure spoke in a deep mechanical voice. Your time of peace is over. We are the Victheri. We claim your worlds as our own. Resist and perish. The hologram vanished. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Jack looked at Ella. For the first time in their 5 years together, the old ambassador smiled, not with fear, but with a strange, knowing expression. All around them, the human delegation had the same look. While aliens panicked, humans smiled, as if they had been waiting for this day all along.